Mhm. So I suppose that we can start already, yeah, with our series of webinars. So I need to warn you that these webinars will be recorded, and later, a bit later, it will be uploaded on YouTube. So you will have access, permanent access, yeah, live access to these topics. Our series of webinars is devoted to teaching English to learners with special educational needs. And the first webinar focuses on teaching English to dyslexia, to students with dyslexia, dysgraphia, and dyspraxia. Uh,
Good afternoon.
all the webinars are conducted in Skovoroda Hub, that is our regional center of blended education in Kharkiv National Pedagogical University. And later I will share the link to the presentation, so I will send to your email addresses, and you will find all the links to our site, our university site, to the site of Skovoroda Hub. You will also find the link to our YouTube channel with all the videos of all the events that have ever been conducted. And I highly recommend visiting the site of Skovoroda Hub, and you might find something useful for yourself there. All the events that are conducted in our hub are free of charge, and for most of them, you can get a certificate. Well, our today's speakers, Olena Chehratova, PhD in Education, Associate Professor of the Department of the Practice of Oral and Written Speech at our university, and me, Olena Chухno, PhD in Education, also Associate Professor at the Department of General Linguistics. Well, and let me start with some general characteristics, yeah, of different groups of learners we may deal with when we teach English. So when we teach English in our groups, we may see learners of different categories. Our learners may differ in their language proficiency level, from A1 to C2. So in one and the same group, there can be learners who possess level B1 and B2. Well, and we as teachers need to deal with these differences. We may even have learners of different age in one and the same class. We may have learners who have different learning styles, for example, visual learners, auditory learners, kinesthetic learners. We may have learners of different types, for example, introverted, extroverted, formal and informal, global, analytic, and this list can continue. Our learners have different interests. Our learners have different level and, I would say, depth of their background knowledge. But this series of webinars will mainly focus on learners with special educational needs. So let's consider the categories of learners, the subcategories of learners we can have within this category. So, who are learners with special educational needs? They are learners who have musculoskeletal disorders. These learners may have hearing impairment, visual impairment, developmental delay. They may have speech impairment. They may have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and that is the topic of our second webinar. They may have autistic spectrum disorder. That is the topic of our third webinar. Today we're going to speak about learners who have difficulties with cognition and learning. They are so-called the 4Ds, learning difficulties. So learners who have dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyspraxia, and dyscalculia. We're going to focus on the first three learning difficulties within our webinar today. Well, so we will define the 4Ds you will see a set of signs by using which you can recognize dyslexia, dysgraphia, or dyspraxia in your learners. I will present a set of do's and don'ts. So some recommendations to follow or something that should be avoided while teaching these learners. I will also present some examples of how teaching materials can be adapted to teach them reading, writing, speaking, and listening, so main communicative skills. And the best part, I would say, of our today's webinar will be presented by Olena Andreevna. So she will introduce us to a set of different online tools and resources that can be used to facilitate, I would say, our teaching of such learners and to make learning more accessible for these learners. So that is our dessert for today at the end, yeah? We're looking forward to that part. So let's start with the notions. The 4Ds notions, what are they? These learning difficulties are called the 4Ds because they all start with the letter D, as you have noticed, yeah? They're dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and dyspraxia. These learning difficulties have something in common. You have noticed, if you look at the definitions, yeah, you can notice that they are all chronic neurological disorders. It means that they are connected with the brain functioning, and they are chronic. It means that these disorders, these disabilities can't be cured, they can't be treated. So a person will have to live with these difficulties all his or her life. But all these difficulties, disorders, they cause different problems. If we look at dyslexia, we can notice that it can cause inability or great difficulty in learning to read. So reading difficulties. Dysgraphia, so this disorder affects the act of writing. I would say the act of handwriting and spelling, of course. Dyscalculia causes inability or great difficulty in counting and processing mathematical concepts. We are not going to consider dyscalculia within our topic, within our series of webinars, because it is mainly connected with teaching mathematics, I would say, yeah, but it can affect teaching English as well within some specific topics. As for dyspraxia, so it is also defined as a chronic neurological disorder, but it affects a child's ability to perform motor tasks. So it mainly affects gross and fine motor skills. Now we are going to consider each of these learning difficulties, so one by one, step by step. You will see the signs of these difficulties. So, dyslexia. We're going to start with dyslexia. And as you can see, a person with dyslexia may have a range of difficulties. Yes, he or she may encounter a huge range of different challenges every day. So some problems with auditory processing, problems with visual processing and motor processing, memory issues, difficulties note-taking, difficulties in producing written work, and even some challenges in organizing and managing time. So, as for auditory processing, what does that mean? So, a dyslexic person may have difficulty telling the difference between sounds, and it may lead to spelling difficulties. A dyslexic person, for a dyslexic person, the print or the text may appear to wobble, jump, blur, float out of sequence. It may even drop off the page. It may be extremely hard for a dyslexic person to track text across the page, and it makes reading hardly possible. A dyslexic person may miss out words or whole lines when reading, and such a learner may be able to recognize words as individual letters, but not be able to place them in the correct order. And again, it makes it a bit difficult, I would say rather difficult to read. Motor processing. So dyslexic learners may have poor motor control. They may get confused over left and right. Their notes may not always be accurate. They may have difficulty with handwriting and even pronouncing longer words because of the organs of speech functioning differently compared to an ordinary mainstream learner. As for memory, so dyslexic learners will have problems remembering instructions, messages, numbers, facts. They may have poor sequential memory, and it will affect coping tasks. So this learner will not remember clusters of words, and it can make copying, for example, from the board, rather challenging. Note-taking. So for such learners, listening and writing at the same time can be quite difficult. That is why taking notes, writing dictations can be quite hard. These learners may find it difficult to find the place on the board, to retain a cluster of words and write them down, write them correctly. As for written works, as a teacher, you will notice a huge discrepancy between this learner's understanding his or her ideas and oral abilities and the standard of written work. So this learner can produce some creative, innovative ideas, but on the other hand, the written work may not demonstrate all the abilities this person has. And organization and time management. So dyslexic students will have problems with planning and organizing their work, putting things in sequence. They may miss out steps. And they might have difficulty judging how long things take, remember dates and appointments. What should be mentioned here is that a dyslexic learner will not have all these symptoms. Yes, so these symptoms or these signs are typical, and of course we are not specialists, we can't diagnose that, but at least we can, if we notice some of these symptoms, we can recommend parents to go to a specialist for the child to be diagnosed or not. I will show you some examples of how dyslexic learners can see a text, just for us to understand what they might feel while reading. You can see two examples here. So I would say that I won't be able to read these texts if I see them as a dyslexic person. Here I will present a simulation. It was created by the programmer Victor Windel, especially for non-dyslexic people to understand how a text may appear. So what the text may look like for dyslexic people. So please watch attentively, pay attention to the letters. One second. Okay. Can you see that? So all the letters jump, they change. And I can read this text actually, but I need to put a lot of effort while reading the text. So it will take me much more time if I am a dyslexic person. So just let's imagine it will take me much more time to read this text than to a mainstream learner. So to sum up, we can say that reading for a dyslexic learner may be to some extent a torture, right? In spite of having all these learning difficulties that I have already mentioned, dyslexic learners are gifted. They demonstrate a high level of imagination, creativity, and visualization. And as a proof, here you can see just some celebrities who are dyslexic. So among them are Tom Cruise, Keira Knightley, Salma Hayek, Steven Spielberg, Jennifer Aniston, and so on and so forth. They are just how many? 8 celebrities, but there is a huge list online you can find, and you can see that all of them are artistic people and they have achieved a lot in their life. I suggest watching a part of the interview given by Keira Knightley. She, in this interview, she's sharing her experience of having lived with dyslexia for all her life, so some challenges she encountered, and support, help from parents and teachers she received. So let's watch that. Just about 4 minutes. Okay.
School when I was about 5 was amazing because I was absolutely top of every class, well, top of my class, and I was reading in front of people and I thought of myself as being unbelievably intelligent. And then when I was 6, they realised that I hadn't been reading at all and that my mum read to me all the time. We had lots of books at home and I'd memorised them. And it was only when somebody finally gave me a book that my mum hadn't read me that they realised that I hadn't been reading at all and couldn't read at all. So when I was 6, I went from being the top of the class to the absolute bottom of the class. And I still remember what a shock that was. And I still remember how I saw myself completely differently from that moment. I was really, really lucky. I was at a brilliant state primary school. And also my brother had been there before and he'd been diagnosed with dyslexia, so they'd already dealt with him. And the teachers there said to my parents, you need to find a carrot to dangle in front of Keira. There's no reason that she shouldn't be able to read and there's no reason that she shouldn't be able to, do well at school, but you need to find a carrot. And really fortunately for me, I wanted to act. So it was my head teacher, who was a brilliant man called David Cooper, who said to my mum, if she wants to act, then you let her act, but she's only allowed to do it if her grades either stay the same or go up. If she drops a grade, then you take the carrot away. I think I've always been very creative. It was art, it was drama, it was music. I was always very good at creative writing. I was top of those classes. It's just that my spelling was awful. Again, the teachers that I had recognised how important it was that I knew that the points that I was making and the pieces of creative writing, the stories that I were telling, were great and were valid and were interesting, and that they gave me a mark for that. And that the spelling and the punctuation was entirely different. Because when you split them up, you're not saying you're not intelligent enough. What you're saying is, hey, you're not very good at this bit, and that's fine. That's fine. Deal with that bit, but well done, because that was a great story. Because actually, confidence is the most important thing. And if you tell a child that they're not good at something, and you tell a child that they're stupid, then they'll feel like they are. And so I think it's really important to say you're not stupid. Your brain simply works differently than other people, and you can find different ways around it, and you'll be good at other things. You may not be a brilliant speller, you may not be a very fast reader, but you will learn how to read, and you will learn as much spelling as you need to, but you'll be better at different things, and I think that's unbelievably important to know as a kid. My spelling makes people laugh. It makes me laugh, actually, and my reading, if I'm sight reading, it's a complete joke. I mean, it'll mean something else completely. It won't make any sense at all, which, for what I do for a living was quite difficult, because if you give me a page of dialogue now, I can just about do it, but I mean, it jumps about and, it takes me a while. I really need to learn it. I need to sit with it. I always have to say, you cannot give me a rewritten scene on the day and think that I'm going to be able to perform it well. If you give me a rewritten scene the day before and I have a night to work on it, I will be able to do it well. I think I was really lucky that it was diagnosed when I was 6. So that early diagnosis was key to absolutely everything.
So from her story, we can already formulate some of the recommendations we need to follow when we teach dyslexic students. Yeah, she is extremely lucky to have had all this support during her life, especially in the childhood when parents and teachers. I identified the fact that she was dyslexic, and maybe it was due to the fact that her brother was dyslexic, her elder brother was also dyslexic, and they knew what to do with them. But still, so she was diagnosed really early, and that is why she managed to learn to cope, with this learning difficulty. But nevertheless, so she has achieved a lot of in her life. As for the recommendations, she has mentioned that her teachers assessed her for the content, but not for the spelling. And creativity was the main criterion that was considered in her written works. Well, let's go on now. So again, this short list, but it is much longer. A short list of celebrities is another proof that dyslexia is not a verdict. So people can live with that and can achieve a lot on condition they are provided with sufficient support, professional support. So the second learning difficulty we're going to discuss today is called dysgraphia. So you understand that dysgraphia is connected with the process of writing, mainly handwriting. So, and how can we recognize dysgraphia in our learners? Their writing will be rather illegible. Their copying or writing is slow or labored. They may confuse similar letters like B and D. They may mix up print and cursive, upper and lower cases. The letters that they write may have irregular sizes, shapes, and slant. The space between words and letters that they write may be inconsistent. As for the position of the text on the page that they produce, it may be a bit strange with respect to lines and margins. They may not finish words or letters. They may omit words from sentences. They typically need more time to write something, and usually they get pain into their hand due to the cramped or unusual pencil grip. So they may hold the pen very close to the paper. They may hold their thumb over two fingers, and they may write from the wrist. And this may cause physical pain. Here you can see two examples of dysgraphic learners' handwriting. As for the first example, it is illegible. I can't read a single word there. As for the second one, both examples were taken from Reddit. The second one is produced by an adult person already, an adult male, who admits that, he has been struggling all his life, and we can actually read the text, but again, this handwriting looks not neat, I would say, Okay, that is dysgraphia. We can say that people who have dyslexia and dysgraphia, besides learning difficulties, they also have to deal with emotional, psychological issues. They may feel anxious and nervous at the lesson. They may feel frustration because they understand that they are unable to do what their peers do at the lesson. Due to their teachers, parents, and peers' ignorance, they may be unfairly criticized for being sloppy, inattentive, careless, lazy. They are likely to fall behind with schoolwork, and it may result in depression and even disgust to learn. So we understand as teachers that if we have a dyslexic or dyspraxic learner in our class, we will deal not only with learning difficulties, we will also deal with psychological issues. Dyspraxia, so the third learning difficulty we're going to discuss today. Dyspraxia, so you remember that it is a chronic neurological disorder, yeah? So we can define it as a condition that affects physical skills mainly, including large body movement, problems with balance, posture, hopping, skipping, fine motor skills, like it affects the ability to write and to manage, for example, clothing in everyday life. It may affect organization skills, planning skills, and it will affect working memory. So again, for example, copying from the board will be quite difficult for a dyspraxic learner. This condition is also called developmental coordination disorder, DCD. So mainly affecting motor skills. And here we have just a 3-minute video of a mom of a dyspraxic learner who shares her story. I suggest watching this video just for us to understand what difficulties, what challenges we may encounter as teachers in our classes when we teach dyspraxic students. So...
James is 9 and he has dyspraxia. He was always had problems as a young child, and we finally got a diagnosis for him in February 2005. Just have a scoot round on it. Dyspraxia is quite common. I think about 10%, maybe 1 in every classroom, will have some features of dyspraxia. James was always slightly different to all the other children that we knew. He fell over all the time. He was very poor balance. He would fall out of high chairs. He'd fall off a seat, trip up over nothing. All the other children were holding pens. They were scribbling already. They were talking. James wasn't talking. My view of dyspraxia is that it's a disorder of motor planning and execution. So he knows what he wants to achieve, but his ability to show you that he's achieved it is difficult. So he has an intelligence up here and his physical ability may be down here, and this gap is what I call his frustration gap. So he knows what he wants to get to, but getting there is just beyond his grasp. Well, there are a lot of things that we've done sort of functionally that assist the dyspraxia, so like the writing slope that he can use. We also have pencil grips that he can choose different types of pencil grips or thickness of pens. Then there are other things, that we do. He's got a swing seat, so if he needs calming down, he'll go and sit in his swing and have a little calm down. James is always basically in a state of flight because he's stressed about everything and everything's very difficult, so it's challenging. So we just have to try and regulate him. So if he's running low, he might want to go and do something like jumping on his trampoline or something to get him going. And just the bouncing, the act of bouncing, is giving him a lot of feedback of where his body is from gravity and from the tension in the bed of the trampoline. And he absolutely loves that.
Mm-hmm. So we have noticed, that this boy has some challenges with physical ability to move, and his mom mentions, that he often bumps into things or other people. He may fall off the seat, constant bruises and so on, and he has this need to move all the time. And we as teachers need to provide dyspraxic learners with this opportunity to move around the class even during lessons. Let's go on. So that was dyspraxia. And now I will present a set of recommendations to follow when we teach learners who have dyslexia, dyspraxia, and dysgraphia. Some of them have common symptoms. We should also mind that if you have a dyslexic student in your class, the student may also have dysgraphia or may also have dyspraxia. So these students may have some common signs. We are going to do that in the format of a quiz. You can see some statements, and I would like you to choose all the do's for teaching dyslexic, dysgraphic, or dyspraxic learners. Please ignore the don'ts. So look at the first statement. Should we follow this recommendation or not? What do you think? Issue materials ahead of time so the student has extra time to prepare. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, probably yes.
Definitely.
Probably yeah. Let's look at the second one. Create bookmarks or take-home slips with homework tasks that include numbered step-by-step instructions. Yes or no? Yes or no? Bookmarks, take-home slips. Yeah. The matter is that I can't see when I navigate the presentation. Okay. Allow voice recorders in place of note-taking, typed assignments instead of handwritten. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
I
Yes.
see that. Compare SAN learners, so these categories of learners, to the performance of mainstream students. Should we compare?
No way.
No, no way. Absolutely not.
Use the same timing as for mainstream students. The same deadlines, the same timing at the lesson.
No.
Okay,
No.
no. And we have one more here. Focus on the successes rather than overall performance.
Yes.
On the
Yes.
yeah. Let's check. Oh, well done. That is correct. That is not the end. We have another, the next part of the quiz. Provide opportunities for private reading and writing. Private reading and writing, it means that you can ask this learner to stay after the lesson, and you will help this learner to learn to read out loud. Probably yes. Provide copies of the text and highlighter markers.
Yes.
Yes. Ask a learner to copy from the board.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Ask a learner to read out loud.
Also no.
We're not in front of the class.
This learner will be, especially if this learner is not dyspraxic but dyslexic, he or she will be rather embarrassed. Explicitly teach how to break down assignments and tasks into sequential parts to teach them how to organize, how to plan their work.
We can.
Yes.
Sure. I think this would be useful for any kind of student, actually.
Yes, that is right. Especially useful for these categories of learners. Create an oral classroom with thinking time that allows for more spoken answers instead of written answers.
Yes.
Yes.
Probably yes. Let's check. We are right again. The third part, provide pens and pencils in different shapes and sizes. That is for dyspraxic learners.
Yes.
Yes. Just for them to find the pen they feel like most comfortable to use. Then use reader-friendly fonts, increase font size, minimize visual distractions, use short sentences, increase the space between lines.
Yes.
True.
Provide clear instructions one at a time and repeat them if necessary. So, use hand and core strengthening exercises.
Of course.
For dyspraxic learners. Never let learners move around the classroom. Never.
No.
Okay. And the last one.
Wrong.
And the last one is to provide materials that are slightly altered to a more appropriate reading level for dyslexic students. So, like adapt materials.
Yeah.
Let's check. Oh, well done. That is the last part, I promise, the last part of the quiz. Be patient and positive when teaching handwriting. Of course.
We have to.
Patient and positive all the time, regardless of the areas we're working with, Have an outline of a lesson and worksheets to copy less from the board.
True.
Use, I like these techniques, use write on backs, write on air, write on the trays with the sand or cereal, instead of writing with a pen.
Yeah. Maybe. Yes.
It will be much more engaging for the students. Yes, they will not feel this disgust to writing.
Could be useful. especially because writing with pens, like with the ink, you can really erase it, can start over if you make a mistake, and this might be what is frustrating them.
Yeah, that is right. And you develop, I would say, fine and gross motor skills at the same time when you do that, yes? Not just fine motor skills. Use sensory tools like flashcards, charts, posters, tools which learners can touch. So something they can manipulate, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
The next one is great on both content and spelling. And spelling.
No.
Okay, so we usually, if we work with dysgraphic, dyslexic students, we need to grade them for content because they are. It is physically. It's hardly possible for them physically to produce a neat written piece of work, and to spell words correctly. It's not their fault. Allow giving responses in an oral, recorded form instead of writing.
True.
Yes.
Let's check. Correct. Well done. So they will the recommendations you can follow. I will share the link to the presentation so you will also be able to practice that again. Adapting materials. So we have analyzed the signs of these learning difficulties. We have analyzed some recommendations to follow when we teach these kids. And now I'm going to present some examples of the ways we can adapt different teaching materials for students with dyslexia, dysgraphia, and dyspraxia. For example, if we want to adapt reading materials, they recommend using sans-serif fonts. They are fonts without extending features at the end of strokes. So you can see two examples of fonts here. The first one in the right top corner is a sans-serif font, так званий шрифт без зарубок, так? And you can see the second example, that is шрифт із зарубками. So it is a bit more challenging for dyslexic learners to read such texts. You can also see three other examples. Three examples of fonts like Vedana, Arial. You can use them for dyslexic learners. And recently they have been so a couple of dyslexic-friendly fonts have been developed, like Open Dyslexic. I hope that you have seen it already. So that is a special font, developed for dyslexic people. So one of the recommendations is to adapt the font. The second one, they say that we need to use, for dyslexic learners, we need to use dark gray letters on tinted background. So it makes like the perception of the print, the text, more easy. The third recommendation, here we have a set of recommendations. So if you adapt a text to the needs of dyslexic learners, you need to increase the space between the lines, you need to increase the size of the font, you need to chunk the text to break it into several parts. It is recommended to use shorter sentences, easier words. It is recommended to highlight keywords for these students, not to have to read every single word in the text, but to focus on just the main points. It is recommended to check comprehension orally instead of written activities, for example, listening comprehension, or reading comprehension. And we need to allow using text-to-speech, speech-to-text tools if the aim of the activity is not to teach writing, but rather speaking and This is an example of a fiction book. The first variant is for mainstream learners or mainstream readers, with typical readers, yeah. And you can see how the second variant differs. So all recommendations that we have just seen are followed here. The space between the lines, the font is called sans serif, yeah. The size of the font is larger. So it is adapted for dyslexic learners. And I will also present one example of a page from an English textbook. Here you can also see that the text is is presented in a linear way, so the student doesn't need to jump like from one line to the next level to another line, yeah, or from one column to another column. As for the text, so the size of the font is quite large to see. The keywords are highlighted and the tinted background is also used. So with the help of modern online tools, we can easily adapt ordinary text to the needs of dyslexic learners. As for writing, we as teachers know that usually if the task is communicative, so a communicative written task, it involves a long instruction, right, usually with several steps. So what can we do here? We need to shorten the instruction to the activity as much as possible for the learner not to have to read a couple of sentences. We need to break the instruction into several parts if it is long. We need to provide ongoing feedback while they are doing the work. We should allow the use of graphic organizers for them to organize their ideas, to plan their work. We need to provide a model they can follow. Yeah, and I would say the last recommendation is the best here. So to provide them with a template, because they will not need to write the whole work. They will need just to complete the template, yeah, to maybe to fill in the gaps, and it is much easier for them. So the example of the instruction is given here. You can see that the instruction is presented so on tinted background. The font is dyslexic friendly. The instruction is broken into several steps, so it is quite short. As for listening comprehension, the best advice is to check comprehension orally. So we check their listening comprehension, but not their ability to write. But if you still need to use written activities, then we need to adapt. Yeah? We can allow dyslexic learners to use different tools like text-to-speech, speech-to-text tools to listen to the instruction instead of reading. Where we want to check not the comprehension of the instruction, but the comprehension of the audio text. So, and these tools will help. We need to minimize visual distractions on the page. We may highlight the key information. As for the kinds of activities, they recommend using multiple choice activities, but not matching activities. The matter is that multiple choice activities are presented in a linear fashion, so line by line, and the learner doesn't need to jump. But if you just visualize a matching activity, you understand that we need to jump from one line from the first line to the fourth line all the time, yeah, and it can make the perception of the text a bit more challenging for dyslexic students. So do not use matching activities, use multiple choice activities, or maybe true-false activities. That is also a kind of multiple choice. We need to avoid gap-filling activities for them not to write. Yeah, and again, we need to use appropriate fonts, sizes of letters. So we need to adapt the font. And finally, teaching speaking. Again, the main recommendation is to give instructions orally. You can also provide mainstream students with written instruction, it's not a problem, but if you have a dyslexic student in your class, then also read the instruction out loud. Allow using text-to-speech tools for the learner to listen to the instruction. And break the instruction into several steps if it is complicated. Here you can see an example of how you can do that. So the instruction is given in a linear way, on a tinted background. The open dyslexic font is used here, and some words are highlighted, the keywords, like talk about the people, the food, and other things. So dyslexic students will not have to read the whole instruction. They will focus just on the key words. So they are the main recommendations you may want to follow when you teach dyslexic, dysgraphic, and dyspraxic students. And now is the best part of our webinar. Olena Andreevna is going to present a set of tools we can all use to make our teaching easier, and to make the process of learning more accessible for these learners. My presentation.
Thanks for the introduction, and I hope that all the tools that we are going to discuss, they can be used not only for teaching dyslexic students and so on and so forth, but it can be used they can be used in different situations, but they can just the usual stuff that we like, it makes the teaching and learning process easier, especially for us, for educators. So what we can see here, you can see here, I hope, is a little mind map. And with this mind map, there are the tools that we can use. We can work with them in different order because they are connected with different parts and different activities, but still they are quite easy to access in most cases. And in some cases we haven't even I haven't thought that it might be so easy to access the tool access the tool and use it in your in the educational process. So we are going to start here with a kind of a little interactive activity, and we are going to discuss the tool called Natural Reader. So that is the tool that helps I hope you can see it now. That is an AI tool that helps convert text to speech. There are quite a lot of them out there on the market nowadays. It's very popular, but the point is that you don't need to register here, which is cool. It's easy to use, and they have some kind of commercial option, but for usual users, it will be quite enough, and you can use it without any additional paying options. So, for example, we will choose Alice, let's say.
A gentle melancholy weighed on her heart, woven from memories of a time when laughter echoed through these very meadows. She traced the delicate petals of a forgotten daisy, lost in thought until a soft voice broke the silence. Lily, her grandmother's voice, warm and comforting.
So we have chosen her, and we get to another page. Here they have a sample text, but what is going to happen now is, as I said, it's kind of an interactive task. I'm going to paste here a text without the main character, so to say, and we will ask it to read the text for us, but you will have to guess what the text is about. So, yeah. We will start listening. We're not going to listen to the whole text.
2 years ago, rap musician and mogul threw a lavish 53rd birthday party at his $61 million mansion in Beverly Hills. A host of stars lined up to toast his career, with a guest list that included Jay-Z, Travis Scott, Mary J. Blige,
Kailani, Tina Shee, Chris Brown, and Machine Gun Kelly.
And that will be it. So you can see the text moving here. The text is highlighted. The font is quite nice for the user, I would say, with different shades of the text, and you can hear it. Yeah, surely it doesn't make a lot of pauses, or it doesn't, for example, when we had this gap, it didn't actually understand that it was a gap, but the idea is that it can actually help a learner to read this text. The question is, what was the text about? Or who was the text about? Sophia.
I might be wrong, but is it about PDD?
Yeah, it is. The text is taken, because it's just a buzzword nowadays, a buzz name nowadays, and everyone is talking about it. I've decided that it would be a nice thing to use it. It was taken from BBC News, just the most accessible text, I mean, with some difficult details here. So yeah, it was a text about PDD that was just a part that helped us with reading comprehension. So it helped us, read everything for us, and as I said, you don't need to register. You can, but you don't have to, and it's quite easy. If you want to go further, if you want to have some additional options like save something or filter something, then yeah, definitely you will have to take your account, but this is just a free version that can, and you can change the person who will read it for you every day, like with different accents, different people, and it sounds like fun in this way. So the next tool we are going to discuss, just a second, I will reopen the tab. Yeah, the next tool we are going to discuss is about teaching, learning to write, and this tool is called Wizard. Let us write in Wizard. You can, here there is a catch. To use it, I will share another screen now, but here is just a page of Google Play, so you have to download it and install on Google Play or App Store on your computer or tablet, and then you can use it. You can't use it from the on the computer, because that is the point of practicing to write, and that is why on computer it won't make much sense. But it's fun. It's for definitely for young learners, or maybe not only for young learners, because I spent like 40 minutes drawing the letters there because it was fun. So I will try to share the screen on my tablet now. And I will switch just a second. It's in the process. Yeah. So here is and it has nice music. I unfortunately didn't share the music thing here, but the music option here, but it's just entertaining. It's easy. So you, when you install it on your phone, on your tablet, you don't need to register. Only there is something. It's complicated for parents, but for parents it's complicated. You have to count. So if you have some issues with that, it will be difficult. Okay, let's have a guess that I've done well. So there are some instructions here. There are some rules how to use if you want to add something to the list apart from what is given here, and how to access something, but it doesn't matter. So you know that you can do it. It's possible. And then again, you don't need to register. So if we want to learn, or if we need to learn something, we will press, let's say, these different images, shapes, and so on and so forth, and we choose what we need to learn. From the easiest, like plus, minus, or just you can see that they are moving, to more complicated ones. Let's try a fish. First, they show the movements that you have to make in order to achieve it. And then you have these arrows at points where to go. The point is, when I start doing it, Oh, there was different thing. So here you can see it, but I'm moving my finger into a wrong direction. So it stopped. And it's waiting for me to get back. So here I'm back on the line because I'm looking at the screen of my computer and I can see what I'm doing. So I'm back on the line and I can continue doing that. So I have these instructions. Then it's very beautiful. Again, it is with music. And I can do some fun stuff. Like I can move these birds, whatever. And it's really cool. There was a picture with... Oh yeah, I love this one. These are little tigers. And when you finish your something, your figure, number, a letter, they are there. And if you move your device, they will just go around this place and you can like play with them. It's fun. I spent 40 minutes playing with them because it was really cool. So these were just the figures, but you can also use alphabet, numbers, and the words. So they have some settings of the words. You can do your own word list here. It's a little bit complicated from the point of view that you have to like press enter, press space, so on and so forth. You can use the confusing words, but you can add the words, as many words as you want, and then the child can practice spelling those words. So not the easiest one, but more and more and more. Plus, what they have here at the bottom right corner, they have worksheets. Again, you have to do this terrible thing. Oh, I did it right again. So you can choose the worksheets, for example, with these, let's say, 3 letters, and you can choose them and either print them or, let's say, have a screenshot and then try it on your tablet or, again, phone. So there will be the words. They also have some kind of hints with different colors, different font numbers. You can change them. It will take a little bit more time, but you can change it, and you have this free, again, almost free access to everything. You can actually download it, but we are not interested in it now. So it is quite a fun activity for young learners, for parents, for educators, just because it provides a lot of options, and it's very beautiful, I would say. So yeah, I'm getting back to this device again, and we are going to discuss now. So we've discussed about the writing wizard and natural reader. Now we are getting back to reading part. The tool is called Beeline Reader, and it might be really helpful because it can do things like that. So that is, these are 2 screenshots taken from Wikipedia. The first one is just the ordinary screenshot, like I changed there nothing. And here is the altered version that the tool helps you. You can achieve it with the help of this tool. So according to what we already know about teaching dyslexic students reading and helping them to read, we understand that this, the right screenshot is much better example than the first one. So how does it work? You have to open their site. I have to show it to you. You have to open their site, and then you will be able, there will be a button that you have to use it, but because I just installed it on my Google Chrome account, you won't see it. But here, there was a button here to install it, and you install it as a, I won't see it now. Just a second. You install it like an additional stuff. It's not an app. It's just the part to your Google Chrome. Once again, a different way of presenting. So you can see it And when you open a page, any page, let's get back to this PDD article. So you do remember that I have taken it from here. You will have it here. You will press it and activate. And the whole article will be like that. It will change the color, it will change the font, it will change the lines, everything will be changed, so it's more suitable and beneficial for a dyslexic learner to find. It doesn't work with every site. For example, if we take a dictionary, in a dictionary site, it will work bad because you won't find the necessary information there. But if it is some kind of text site with the news, with some information, it works almost perfect here. The only drawback is that when you open this thing, you have to for I forgot it. No, okay, I have several of them. You have to choose 3 favorites. You can then switch them off, but you can do it. Oh, here, because I switched off one, now they offer to add it to my list, so it will work. No, I don't want to be pro. It will work better, it will work faster with this thing. And you have an opportunity only to have 3 sites here. But you can actually, all the time, if you need it, you can switch one site off and add another. And it's quite easy to, because I added there as my favorite site, it changes it automatically, and you can easily use it in your preparing the material. So that is quite a nice extension, and again, you can use it for free. Another thing that you can use for free in most cases, and it's like the easiest tool you can get access to, called Immersive Reader. And unexpectedly, Immersive Reader is the tool provided by Microsoft Office. The only question here is that I'm not sure if you have not the paid version of Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. I'm not sure if it is possible to use it. I think it is, but I don't know how to check it, but it's very easy and it's really cool. So if we open a document, a new one, it's the where is the document? And we will start a new document. It also works with the online version of the Office set. I tried it. And we will copy some text here. That is, again, the text taken now from Guardian news about 100 best books, the list of best 100 fiction books. I got really disappointed with this list because they used to have BBC list of 200 books and Harry Potter was in the first 10 of them, and now they don't have Harry Potter. So I don't think we can believe this particular list. That's not the point. We will have to find view or Wihlet, and here they have this Immersive Reader tab or whatever. If you press it, you will have a lot of opportunities what to do with the text. So you can change the text spacing, make it bigger. You can make it read out loud. It doesn't work as good as natural reader source, but possible. You can change the page color easily. Choose a lot of different options and ideas. You can change the widths of the column. like as you like it. And like basically that's it, but it's quite a lot, especially because you don't need to use anything like additional. You use it in your own Word document. So you can read any kind of text without any additional sources. You can compose any kind of text without any additional resources. And it helps a lot, and it's very easy to access. Just like that is one point. I'm not sure if it is possible to do in the free version, although I think it is. But I didn't have an opportunity to check it. And if you don't need it, you will press close and you will get just the text that you used to have before. No additional things needed. So easy to access and very useful for different purposes. Now getting back to my presentation. I need to reopen everything a lot of times, but it's going to be better now. Now we have 3 more resources. Let's discuss NESI resource. They say that it's one of the best resources out there on the market for dyslexic students, or the students they have some specific learning needs. It has it has a lot of problems, I think. First, you need to sign in. It's very difficult because it always asks you for some complicated password, and it doesn't give you any hint. Like when you're using some sites, they say that here is the password we generated for you. You can use it, and you're like, okay, I will do it. Here you don't. You have to do it by yourself, and you have to use the letters, the number, the character, something like that, something else. So it's a lot, but you can. Where I was here just I don't know why they asked me to choose this. I didn't have a secret word. Okay. No. It kicked me out. I had an account. Just after, okay. It's more about games. It's connected with you won't have an opportunity to spell the letters like they are in the game I showed, or you won't have an opportunity to play with those characters you have created, but you there will be several free options in which while I'm talking, I'm trying to. I didn't have a secret word. So yeah, if you decide to register there, just remember that you will have a secret word, which I haven't had. There will be some games. They are kind of tiresome, but they are very colorful. And a young learner, definitely we can see it from the pictures here, will have an opportunity to play with some dragons, with some birds, with some mice, some kind of king of yetis or something like that. But the options will be quite limited. And when they say that you have a free trial, you will have this free trial for a limited number of tasks. There will be the coolest out of all the tasks they had there was connected with numbers, because they showed like with the letters, it was about words already, short but words, and with numbers there was like a big number 1, and then you have to show one finger, and you have to show you have to touch one nose because you have only one nose, and you have to touch it, and then again it's 1, and they repeat it numerous times, which make it easier to remember, and like they emphasize, they draw the attention of the learner to this particular number. So with numbers, if you need to teach or learn, someone needs to learn the numbers, it might be fun, but again, the options will be limited because of free trial. But you can see here that it's this resource is designed especially for dyslexic students. So let's hope that they had some kind of research and they understand that it is actually the thing that can help the learners with that. Getting back, we have 2 more resources. And one of them is type-tastic. It's nice and fun not only for the learners who struggle. It's just fun if you want to learn to type quicker, or in general type well, without what's the name of it, the when you don't look at the keyboard. I do remember it was very popular when I was a school child. We had some games like that on the computers at school, but they were, I didn't know it back then, but they were also limited. I guess they were like free trials because we always had the same letters and we never had an opportunity to move further, like always with the same letters. Here, they have different levels for elementary children. If it is, for example, elementary children, I didn't get it. So it's easier because you have to do some tasks, like just search for the same letters. Like they offer you ACD and you have to search for A, then S, then D, and then the most difficult task, you have to move this block and let it fall in the particular place, and then so on and so forth. You will go on with searching for these letters. With more complicated, like for upper elementary levels, it's again usually pressing one button, one key, or several at the same time. If we are talking about the middle or high level, like if you want to learn this method, you can use middle and high. And there are some activities will be blocked here, but you still can use them. Let's try it like that. You press everything they offer you. And then, like they just show you what to do. You have to press these letters in the correct order. And like you don't have to look at the keyboard. Why? And you will learn to press them in the correct order. And you can have a lot of access tasks like that. It is fun, just for an adult to learn to play it, and you have the time. It's like competitive spirit here, but it also helps with finding the letters, getting the words done, and so on and so forth. And the last, but not least, last here today, kind of tool is MindMaster. MindMaster is just a tool for building mind maps. There are a lot of tools for building mind maps out there. Even the slide I was showing you was also connected with that mind map. It's just a little bit complicated from the point of view of a learner to do it. Like you have to spend a lot of time and effort to understand what to do. This resource, they say it's like one of the most popular ones because it is free at some point. And it's usually like that. If you want more, you will have to pay. So at some point it is free, but you can create. I have reached. Oh, I didn't. I'm confused. I didn't know that I reached it. So yeah, you can change the language into Ukrainian, for example, for younger learners, and then you can do a lot of mind maps. It will be easy because when you start doing something, you have these helping tools, and it's easy to use them. You don't have to like train a lot to do it, and then you can use something else. You use another one, then you will use let's say another layout here, whatever you want to use. You can add something here, you can add some other line, and the point is, as we have discussed it before, these learners with special educational needs, they are mostly visual learners. They need to see everything, and it's easier for them, for example, to learn the words doing mind maps, or doing some kind of writing activity. To prepare to do it for this writing activity, they will have to draw this mind map, and you have to use an easy tool for them, help them with that, and use a lot of different resources. You can add some comments, notes, whatever, add multimedia, but it's not the point of it. You just can easily create these mind maps and change it into a chart and make a list out of it, whatever. But it will be the visual representation of anything you want to do, starting from learning the words, getting to writing some texts, stories, and so on and so forth. So for today, these are 7 tools that can help you. You can definitely use some other tools, but these are said to be the most helpful ones if you have to deal with these particular needs, and if you are ready and prepared to adapt your teaching materials and make your educational process more suitable for the learners with some specific needs. And I guess that is the end of our meeting today.
Yeah. Thank you, Olena Andreevna. We enjoyed that immensely, I would say. Though we are not dyslexic, I will speak about myself. Yes, I'm not dyslexic, but I will enjoy using the tools that you have presented, actually. Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming. Thank you for making time joining our webinar today. We dearly hope that the information we presented today was useful, and you will use that with your students and maybe with your children. Yeah, Maxim, you have a question? You're welcome.
Yes, thank you for such an interesting lecture. And I want to say that I have dysgraphia. I can't write very easily without problems, and just to make beautiful with calligraphy, I need to make an effort.
Yeah, so the tools that Olena Andreevna presented, yes, can be also useful for you. Thank you so much. So we are looking forward to meeting you next Wednesday. We're going to have the topic connected with ADHD. So see you. Goodbye. Have a good week.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And Olena Anatolievna, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.